Gordon Parks, one of the greatest photographers of the 20th century, was a humanitarian with deep commitment to social justice. He left behind an exceptional body of work that documents African American life and culture from early 1940s into the 2000s. With a focus on race relations, poverty, civil rights, and urban life, Parks was also a distinguished composer, author, and filmmaker who interacted with many of the leading people of his era, from politicians and artists to athletes and other celebrities. Born into poverty and segregation in Fort Scott, Kansas, in 1912, Parks was drawn to photography as a young man when he saw images of migrant workers taken by Farm Security Administration photographers in a magazine. After buying a camera at a pawn shop, he taught himself how to use it. Despite his lack of professional training, he won the Julius Rosenwald Fellowship in 1942. This led to a position with the photographic section of FSA in Washington, D.C., and later the Office of War Information, AUWO. Working for these agencies, which were then chronicling the nation's social condition, Park quickly developed a personal style that would make him amongst the most celebrated photographers of his era. This extraordinary pictures allowed him to break the color line in his profession of photography, with created remarkably expressive images that consistently explored the social and economic impact of poverty, racism, and other forms of discrimination. In 1942, Park left the OWI to work for Standard Oil Company photo documentary project. Around this time, he was also a freelance photographer for Glamour and Ebony, which expanded his photographic practices and further developed his distinct style. His 1942 photo essay on life of Harlem gang leader won him widespread acclaim and position as the first African American staff photographer for life. Parks would remain at the magazine for 2 decades, covering subjects ranging from racism and poverty to fashion and entertainment, and taking memorable pictures such as figures of Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Adam Clayton, Paul Jr., and Stokely Carmichael. His famous images, for instance, American Gothic and Emerging Man, captured the essence of activism and humanitarian and became iconic, defining their generation. They also helped rally support for the going civil rights movements, for which Park himself was tirelessly advocate as well as documentarian. Parks was a modern-day Renaissance man whose creative practice intended beyond photographic encompassed fiction and non-fiction writing, musical composition, filmmaking, and painting. In 1969, he became the first African American to write and direct a major Hollywood studio film, The Leaning Tree. Based on his best-selling autobiographic, his next film, Shaft, was a critical and box office success, inspiring a number of sequels. Parks published many books, including including memoirs, novels, poetry, and volumes. For years, Parks has been subject to many number of solo exhibitions, also accompanied by illustrated publications and court, organized by Gordon Parks Foundation with other institutions. These include Gordon Parks, the Atmosphere of Crime Museum of Modern Art, Gordon Parks X Muhammad Ali Nelson, Paul Atkins Museum of Art, Gordon Park, the Flavio Story Institution, Morilla, Salas, Sao Paulo, Gordon Parks, the New Tide Early Work, National Gallery of Art, Washington, I Am You Selected Works, C/O Berling, Invisible Man, Gordon Parks and Ralph Ellison in Harlem Arts Institute of Chicago, Gordon Parks Back to Fort Scott Museum of Fine Arts, Boston, Gordon Parks Segregation Story, High Museum, Art, Atlanta, Gordon Parks The Making of an Argument, New Orleans, and Gordon Parks in Harley Families, 1967, the Studio Museum in Harlem.
You know about that, babe.